Have you spent your life believing that you have good emotions and you have bad emotions, and those bad emotions you've been stuffing down? Because we shouldn't feel them. We shouldn't express them because they're bad. Well, Janice and I are back from our 4-week break to talk about how you gotta feel it to heal it. Welcome.
You get that.
Here now, the
That's right.
Peaceful Empowerment Work Show, where presence invites peace and allows perspective. We are live on the new streamingnetwork.com TV, podcast, and WGSN-DB Going Solo Radio. If you enjoy our content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I am your co-host, Judy Forder, and I am here with my co-host in peace, Miss
Janice Leonard. Yay!
We are back for season 3 of Be Here
Ow!
Now. Whoop, whoop.
You got that, sister.
We have a new logo. We have a new look. And there's brewings on maybe a sponsor, Masterful You.
Ooh.
Oh, we got some things brewing in the background. We were hoping would be ready to present to our viewers. Today, they're not quite, they're still percolating. That's how I like to say. They're still percolating. They're not fresh and ready for release. But here we are. We have a fresh new look.
Oh, don't we look great? Did you see our pictures? Aren't we beautiful?
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling Janice, I kept hearing we need simple, clean, easy to read, easy to consume. And this is what's been created. So here we are. Excited
Amen,
to be
sister.
back.
Yes. How are you doing after our 4-week sabbatical?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm excited to be back. A little nervous for the first show again, but excited to be back. It was a roller coaster ride of emotions. I kept, every once in a while when I was feeling the lows, I'd be like, well, now I understand why we needed a break.
I feel the same way. Oh my, I'm a little nervous because for the past month, it's just like, in a way, I'm like, this is going to be terrible because I'm not going to have at least my weekly presence exercise with Judy and my thinking. And it's true. I did find that I was shutting down or whatever a lot. But it was also, I found that I was shutting down at not quite as a lower level though. And I was noticing that. So even though I kind of did what I was worried I'd do, I think I did it in a different, little healthier way because it wasn't total. And I'm glad to be back because I need it. I need to have this, centering moment. And yeah, anyways, yay.
Yeah. Yay. I'm happy to be back. Yes.
Great.
I absolutely am down with what you're saying because those low emotions and the high emotions, I felt like almost, we talk about that observation deck. I felt like I still felt the emotions, but I felt like I was watching myself move through the emotions from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was cool because even though I was still feeling the emotions, the up and the down, there was a certain level of peace, which oddly enough is what we talk about here.
Dum-dum.
Exactly. Being on that observation deck meant we were present, which gave us the different perspective, which allowed us to feel peace in the roller coaster ride. Yeah, I told one friend sometimes my hands were up and I was screaming, and other times I was holding on for dear life.
Yeah, because the first 2 weeks I thought, oh no, look at you're crashing, and then I was like, well, you know what, you have gone walking a few times more than you would normally, and maybe there's more to this. Anyways, every week Judy and I are here to share our stories with you, share some tools that we use, our challenges, our stories, and we're so grateful to be here, and we honor each and every one of you who join us. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and if you're able, please visit our website, which is www.peacefulempowermentworks.org, and donate. Right on the top of the homepage is a donate button on the bottom, and do what you can, even if all you can do is click on like. anything you do to support us. We appreciate it, and we're so glad to be here.
Very glad to be here. And there's a space for you to sign up for an emailing list and a newsletter. I think there's, and that's one of the things brewing in the background, because we have some Peaceful Empowerment Works, the nonprofit, has a program brewing that's going to be created that will need some funding. If you generous folks would like to donate to the nonprofit, then that can help fund the project. It has to do with harmony with horses. So it's local to Vermont, Miss Janice.
Yes. Yeah, I've done, that must be Chris is doing that, Chris Burke. And I've done a session, a horse healing session with her. It was amazing.
Yeah. So
cool.
Once that all comes together, we'll have Chris on to talk about it. And yeah, we got some exciting things brewing. So yes. And if you are a newbie to be here now, if you go to the Peaceful Empowerment Works website, there is a show page where you can catch all our previous shows as well.
That's right.
Yep. Janice, would you ring us in, please?
Can't wait.
Whew.
It's a powerful one.
Yes. It helps get all the jitterbugs out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one of the things I was thinking about is trying to be better and more well, and I was thinking, I think sounds do something for me. So it helps me be more present. Unless it's the TV, and then it does the opposite effect. But like just even when I sit on the porch, I get the chimes, but they're the chakra chimes supposedly. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Beautiful. Yeah, outstanding. Okay, I'm sure our viewers have been missing your fresh weekly affirmations because all the shows we ran were replays. But yes, fresh new weekly affirmation. What do you have for us this week, Jess?
Well, this week I am going to share with my goal that I've been working on for a year or two, which is I am enough exactly the way I am. Not because of what I do, not because of what I produce, but exactly the way I am, me, Janice.
I love that. I am are two of the most powerful words that we can use. And what comes after it, I was going to say predicts our future, but it creates our reality. So I love it. I love it. I've been,
Yeah, I've it's been 3 years now. I've been working on this, and I would say now I'm starting to get it and believe it. It's certainly not something that happens overnight, something like that, believing it. But it's been a journey, and it's really cool to now say it now and to actually believe it.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I love it. I love it. Okay. We have a good news story this week. What would that
Good news.
be?
Well, we're trying not to show video so we don't break any whatever that word is. Excuse me. And I've been still putting them aside. I can't help it. There's some really good ones out there. I'm sorry. Excuse me a second.
I'm looking for a hypnotherapist. Do you recommend one?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oddly enough, I do know a few, and after the show, I will put them linked under the show to you, Alex. Thank you for commenting. But yes, I do know of a few, and I will put them in the comments after the show for you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for asking, because I'm going to be going down to that region, I think. The first weekend in October. Are we getting ready to talk about that yet?
We're getting.
And I'd like to try that. So you post that for us.
Okay.
So anyways, so I still do the videos. I found this one. It was called, I couldn't figure out what it was by. It was called Random Acts of Kindness That Will Make You Cry. I think it's Interesting Facts. I think it's actually the site, but it's really, it was 35 minutes of
Yes.
one after the other, like nice positive stories. So I was going to show one today or talk about one, and there were too many to choose from. But I have to say, when this happened, this was my favorite. I
Okay.
don't know if you remember this, but or saw this, but this during the last Olympics, for some reason, this was the figure skaters, and Japan won the gold.
Mm.
And as they were doing his national anthem, the Japanese national anthem, it wasn't like, don't aren't flags supposed to like go up in the air and he's supposed to stare at it while they do the country song, the national anthem? Well, that's
Yeah.
supposed to happen. I don't understand why, but for whatever reason, they did not have the Japanese flag going
Oh.
up in front of him. So you could tell he was uncomfortable and he's standing there. Of course, the Japanese flag's behind him, and we love those Canadians. So the Canadian who was up on the podium too, he reached over, grabbed the Japanese flag, pulled it open, and then the Japanese Olympic gold winner, I turned around and got to look at his flag as the Japanese as the Canadian winner
Oh,
was holding it for him.
wow.
It did give me goosebumps just now, and I've seen this many times because this is one of my favorites. But you know, you talk about high competition. And it's just, especially in this world right now, it feels like you know, who knows who's gonna get you tomorrow, right? So, but in the spirit of Olympics, which again, politics falls into that, but it
Mm,
didn't at that moment, and that
mhm.
was so beautiful to me.
Yeah.
A
Yeah. Sports.
Canadian.
You're funny. Yep. Leave it to the Canadian. People.
Yeah, if you don't know, supposedly Canadians supposed to be very polite people.
Yes.
I know because, that's where my people are from
It's where you
many
get your.
generations ago.
I love that. I love that
Yeah.
very. Hmm, excellent. Yes, that was a very long video that you sent. And I was like, wow, okay. And it was. It was one act of kindness after another. There's a lot more good going in this world than they want us to believe. So.
Yes. And the one that was shown on the video that I sent you, it was one of them that I saw. I thought I saw it, and it was awesome. I really liked that. I said, okay, I can have fun with this one. But I couldn't find that one. I went through it probably about 5 times. Of course, I didn't go the full 35 minutes. I went, fast, fast, fast. Could not
Mhm.
find that one, that
Mm,
story to remind me what it was about. So I took my favorite. Okay.
perfection. Perfection.
Yep.
All right. So let's lead on into the topic for today. Our topic for today is you got to feel it to heal it. And those of you that have
Mm.
watched the show quite a bit, you understand Janice talks about it frequently, and she did in the intro, where her go-to was to shut down, disconnect, and become numb. And we're going to dig into how Janice learned to allow herself to feel. We're going to dig into some of the things that I had to allow myself to feel as well. And it's a big thing going around social media now. You got to feel it to heal it. There's a lot of trauma therapies and all that kind of stuff. So it's being talked about more and more about how it's not healthy not to feel. We're here to experience this humaning, as I like to call it. This human experience is about feeling all of the feels. And so I just dug up a few things, and I went to Psychology Today, and they have an article, and these were just the high points of the article, that suppressed emotions fire up the nervous system even more than expressed unpleasant ones. So you do more damage by stuffing it down than actually expressing it. Why don't more people pursue the path of self-discovery? Because it's painful. Janice and I can testify to that. We spend a lot of energy working on feeling good to avoid feeling bad. Yes, allowing yourself to feel emotional pain is a necessary step in rerouting your brain away from it. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Those
Janice
are
and I
pretty
like to talk about
powerful.
releasing it. That's about, how do we allow ourselves to release the emotional pain? So, yeah,
Ugh. I
it's
tell you, especially, I don't know. This is me. I like to think I'm not the only one.
you are
But,
not.
I had childhood trauma. Okay. My mom died when I was 4. And we didn't do emotions in my house. So I can just imagine what it was like. You certainly didn't talk about your feelings. You certainly didn't express them. And I honestly, and I don't remember hardly anything from my childhood. So that goes to show you, I think the message was clear. I took the message.
Mhm.
And I've been overweight my whole life. There's one thing. That's one way I used to suppress it. I would find something that would make me feel good. And the need is so deep to like, I gotta get this. I gotta get this, that compulsion.
Mhm.
And that's for me, one of the two big ways I expressed that was just had to eat. And eating couldn't just be eating. It had to be something that I considered a treat,
Mhm.
like pasta or onion rings or, of course, all the very high carb, high fat things. And that's why I've spent my life being overweight and to morbidly obese, because that one was a bitch to not that I've overcome it yet, because but anyways, I'm working on it for sure. And then
Mhm.
just the TV. We were allowed to watch TV,
Mhm.
until my father got home from work. Then we weren't. But
Mhm.
that's what I did. I just watched TV.
Yeah. Well, they call them comfort foods for a reason, and they call it the TV the idiot box for a reason too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
yeah,
it
it's funny because in our family it was, don't you cry or I'll give you something to cry about, which I know, and I repeated that pattern and said it to my daughter, and until I became more aware of what was going on. And food was always something that, because I was put on a diet so early, that if I were to eat comfort food, it had to be in hiding, much like you,
oh yeah.
where you would cook and clean up and all that kind of stuff so nobody knew you made it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's interesting to say the least. The things we do not to feel it. And, other people go to alcohol and drugs and sex, whatever addiction is what you're using to
Exercise.
avoid. Exercise, absolutely. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
um,
interesting to me to understand too, when it's an addiction, which I'll just call this an addiction for this moment.
mhm,
The addiction, when it goes from addiction to a healthy behavior. That's something
mm,
that I've been thinking about a lot too this week as I deal with, suppressing feelings and not. And because I like dawned on me, I was kind of looking around saying, well, yeah, well, I do TV, but my husband, he drank, he stopped drinking,
mhm,
then he started working like 5 jobs, and then he started exercising. So,
mm,
it's like I've watched him just go from one thing to the next to the next. And I
mhm.
know, so, who doesn't get numb? I
Yeah.
don't know. So it's a question. So I think that I'm not alone. I think we're all in this together and learning that we're not alone. And
How can you possibly worry that you're alone when every week in the show you say you're not alone?
that's true.
Oh.
And the thing is if you take it away, you take away the food, you take away the TV, whatever, and anxiety comes up.
Mhm,
It's like, oh, and then you trained yourself that, oh, you can't feel that anxiety.
mhm,
So what can I eat? Or even after the show, like I'm feeling like really, oh, okay, okay. So what am I gonna have for lunch? It's every week. I think, what am I gonna eat when I? It's because that we trained ourselves not to feel.
mhm,
You don't want to have. Or I remember at one point in therapy, I was like, oh no, I can't go there. Well, why not? She says, what's gonna happen? Well, I'll die. I think
mm.
if I felt those feelings, I die. So
See?
it's interesting what has happened to make you suppress that and hold on to it.
Yeah, it is amazing that survival technique. We convince ourselves of whatever we have to in order to keep ourselves safe. And if that means we eat the pasta because it's going to prevent us from feeling the feels that we feel are bad. And that's another thing. We've been conditioned to believe that they're good and bad feelings. Feelings are feelings. They're good or bad because we absorb ourselves in them. It's when we let them move through us. You're not your emotions. And we've talked about this on the show before. When you can, it took me a real long time to even understand that, we feel our emotions. We are not our emotions.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't have anxiety. I experience anxiety. I'm not nervous. I'm experiencing nervousness. And when
I'm
you
depressed.
say terms, it's a lot. Yeah. It puts space between you and the emotion.
Yeah.
I'm not depressed. I'm experiencing depression.
Yeah.
And just that little bit of space allows you to view it from the observation deck.
Yeah.
So that roller coaster we were talking about earlier, even the highs. I've been working on, highs and lows. All emotions are meant to be fluid. So it's not like when I'm high, oh my gosh, this is where I want to stay. This is all I ever want to experience, because that's not the truth of the human experience. The truth is you feel all of the feels.
What's interesting too is I realized not too long ago, a few years back, that, like at work, I would have anxiety at work. And I would think these messages running around my head, terrible things. And then whatever would happen, so I would find out it's not true or it's past. And then I would get this incredible surge high, like, wow, not even high, frantic, frenetic. I don't know, but like, hey, and I'd be so like acting really happy, but it was just this whole spewing of emotions that came out as happy after, because I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has felt that before, but when it passes, when I get really anxious, then I'm like, wow. So if you've ever seen me really crazy happy, it may have been I just got over something. I'm suppressing. I'm just letting out my suppressed emotions.
I love it.
And laugh, people laugh. You ever just people who inappropriately laugh or laugh loud a lot? That's me. Yes. That is such a release. Why? Because they're emotions you're not letting out.
Yes. Diffusing with laughter. The master of that. Oh, we're getting too close to a real emotion here. Let's, you're a funny one.
Yeah. A joke can fix that.
Exactly. Woo, things are getting too real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was diffusing with laughter ninja.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think this is a great place for us to take a commercial break. Yep. And we'll be right back.
Thank you.
And we're back. Be here now. Yes. Peaceful Empowerment Work Show. Beginning of season 3. And we're talking about you got to feel it to heal it. So let's move on to tips and tools. And these, it's funny, Janice, because I was getting this together last night and I thought, these aren't all of them, but these are going to invoke conversation and bring to the forefront, because I feel like just in speaking with you over these years, your patterns have shifted that you may not have even recognized yet. And in doing this practice, my patterns have shifted too. So I think it's going to invoke a lot of conversation for us. Okay. Good. So the first one is when you're triggered, breathe and pause. Breathe and pause. And it's funny because when Janice and I got into the pregame meeting, her and I both were like, yeah, we're a little nervous, blah, 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 blah. And we actually did take some breaths and we paused. I don't even know if you realized we were doing that.
No.
Yep, we were both like, okay, we spoke the words. We said how we're feeling. All right, let's get settled in. There is so much power in that breathe and pause. Because when we're triggered, it can take us into fight or flight. But if we breathe and pause, it stops that emotional automatic loop. That pause gives you the opportunity to make a different choice.
I tell you,
Respond, act.
one way I've really implemented this is with my granddaughter, is when she triggers me, or she does, yeah, she's triggered because I want to like blah, 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 back at her, you know, the blah, blah, blah. I've gotten, so I just say, okay, you got to give me a minute and we'll talk about this later. It's not, I mean, it's a pause and I breathe after, but I have to stop it because I would be negative. And I just, you know, I think about how often my response was negative.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a child who needs positive reinforcement, positive love all constantly. Well, we all do. So there you go. It's not just her. It just has helped so much. And then I kind of explain why I was triggered. Well, you know, you ask me that every day, 365 days a year, and I say no. So no, I don't, not quite like that.
But that's the perfect example of how your pattern has changed.
Yeah.
Because of you having an expanded understanding of emotional intelligence. You are taking control and ownership of your emotions. So whereas in the past, it was a knee-jerk response and a reaction, you now pause and allow yourself to respond.
Yeah.
It changes everything. It really shifts everything.
And you know what? One of the great side effects is I think our relationship is improved because I'm not doing the negative thing, but also I think better about myself because I would always beat myself up because when you just being negative like that, you know, to someone who especially needs positive, yeah, I don't like myself like that.
Right.
For her.
Exactly.
My husband, you know.
There's Wendy.
Wendy.
You, Wendy.
Wendy says it's really difficult to do when the other person keeps at the arguing and won't stop, but that's so true. Yeah, I make her good away.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maddie and I had an agreement that we would go to our own corners. Whatever that was, whether it's her in the bedroom or whatever, we had to come out with that agreement where either one of us could throw the timeout sign. When we threw the timeout sign, we both had to honor it.
Now, yeah, but what if you have a situation with somebody who won't stop, who won't walk away, even if you ask them? I mean, that's probably more of a scenario for Wendy. Guessing.
Well, I feel like that needs to be talked about when not in the middle of the heat of the argument. I feel like that's something that needs to be an agreement. And if they won't walk away from you, you need to get to a safe space where you can close the door and keep them away.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Because Maddie was that little kid that would follow me around. And when I would, you know, go to your room, she would come back out. And then she would follow me around to the point where I would have to put myself in a room and close the door.
Yeah, I need a timeout. I'm going to close the door. I'm going to lock it because you know, there was a point I had to lock it too.
Yes.
And it's not, I don't love you, but I want to be able to talk to you with a reasonable head.
Yes. If they're not going to be respectful of the agreement, you have to remove yourself so that you can be the example. Because there were times I totally understood how people beat their children and I didn't, and it was just at your wit's end. And I did not want to do that. So I had to put myself in a room and close the door. Yeah. Great question, Wendy. Excellent.
Yeah,
question.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And this leads to, if you're in a situation where it's not safe for you to express your emotion, don't lock it in the basement, put it up on the shelf and tell yourself, we're going to unpack that later. Because there are situations, I know I experienced them as a teacher, where I would be enraged by students' behavior. And it's funny, not so much the students, but administration, the powers that be that are making decisions that don't make any damn sense. If I was in a faculty meeting and these new things were coming through and it would make me so angry, that's not the appropriate place for me to express my anger. So I'd have to put it on a shelf so that I could process it and think through it and be like, okay, well, what other solution do you present that could be an option? So yeah, have you found yourself in situations where you're feeling something and it wasn't safe for you to express it?
Oh, yeah. I like to think I feel safe at home. So my examples tend to be more work
Mm-hmm.
related. But oh, it's definitely, we've all had, I imagine, we've all had bosses who like to control you. And let's say that you've let them control you for a long time and you start learning, hey, I want to stand up to myself for myself, but you know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember why you stopped. Yeah, that's I had a boss once who we had this it was a negative situation with the boss. And we were doing this self-evaluation. I went to this I was doing this management program and she recommended me, but I don't think she wanted to, but her boss liked me. I guess that's part of the problem here. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Um and and we got the evaluations back and I got at a supervisor, it had a low number under everything. And I had 2 supervisors who've completed it, her and her boss who liked me. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "You just rated me low in all of these. I know you did. It's anonymous, but it's not anonymous because there's 2 people." And there's no way I could talk to her about that. Certainly not at that time. But,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so I had to put it away. And I had to
Yeah.
figure out what was going on and collected my eggs. And I called up the boss's boss and said, "There's no way you rated me low, is there? I mean, what did you rate me?" And she was like, "Oh no!" And I could tell by the comments who was who.
Right.
So yeah, I had to put that away until I was ready to do that one face on. But I did
Mm-hmm.
eventually. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard when you're so used to suppressing it and putting it down. Um, and that goes, a big thing for me was, I've talked on the show before about how I had anger issues and rage was my thing, but rage was my answer for everything. Anger was my safe space. If I was afraid, if I was feeling vulnerable, if I was anxious, any of those things for me was always expressed in anger. Always. That was my safest emotion to express.
Hmm.
Which, yes, when I started doing this work and diving into that, it was like, why are you angry all the time? Because that's your emotion for everything. If it's not happy, then it's going to be expressed through anger. So I had to peel off the anger layers and be like, oh, look, that's fear. Oh my gosh, check that out. That's anxiety, which is just a fancy word for fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and what I've come to discover is it's either fear or it's love. Fear is just expressed in a multitude of different ways. So
Wow.
when it came to that rage, yes, I allowed myself to express my anger, but I didn't allow myself to express fear, anxiety, depression. After my mother died, I was depressed. Would I have ever used those words? No. So yeah, when you put it up on the shelf and don't stuff it in the basement, commit to pulling it down later and start looking at it, then you learn so much about yourself.
Boy, I mean, it just makes me think of my husband. That's like so him. I'm gonna have to have him watch this because that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that whole, you thinking when you were home when you were growing up, anger must have been okay to express then, as opposed to the
Hmm.
other ones, huh?
That's an excellent point. Yes. That was my mom was one that would go from zero to, and not to say, there weren't all the steps in between where she asked us a million times to do certain things and then pop. But yeah, it was, you had mom or you had angry mom. And nobody liked to have angry mom.
So you
So
learned
yeah,
the dance.
we
You learned
learned
the
the
dance.
we learned the dance and proceeded. Sometimes we like to joke about my older sister in her teens. Um, Enjoyed seeing Angry Mom and invited her out quite a bit, which made things very interesting for me and my younger sister, because we did a lot of watching and learning and not doing. We learned a lot of what not to do in our teens from our older sister.
I same thing in my house. Yep. So you do
Yeah,
the opposite, because you learn
exactly.
because you're growing up saying, "Whoa, I don't want to see that."
Yeah. And I mean, and honestly, thinking about it right now, she was the one that would allow herself to express when she was angry. She would allow herself to express when she was upset. She would allow herself to express when she was disappointed. All of those things. I sat and watched, and it made created confrontation with my mother. So that was just another sign for me to stuff it down, because we don't want confrontation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, where does my people pleasing start? Where did that come from? I
Hmm.
I learned.
One must wonder. Uh, yeah, interesting. Very, very
They,
interesting.
so I was reading or saw something, I don't remember, last week, and they were talking about how if you have to walk around, tiptoe around the glass. There's an expression, I don't know, but walk carefully.
Uh huh.
That's is that what's happening? That means that's a sign. If you have to, if you're with someone who you always have to.
Walk on eggshells. Yeah.
That's the
Yep.
phrase. Thank you. Walk on
Yep.
eggshells. Then you might want to look at the relationship. You know.
Exactly. You're not. You don't. It's not safe for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely an indication that we need to look a little deeper. So, yes. And then the last one we had here is, when you take it off the shelf to process, express the emotion invoked in a safe manner that does not hurt yourself or someone else. And that was a big point when I got introduced to the whole punching bag thing. What they made abundantly clear to me was that punching bags are great, but you put on gloves. You never release your anger in a manner that's going to hurt you or someone else, of course. But, and in doing that, it was extremely helpful. Oh, this is
Oh.
Laura Turner, my sister. She said, I never thought how hard it must be growing up and not having an example of what to do and not do. I was the youngest of three, so I had many. Huh, that's an interesting perspective. Great comment.
So her learning was better than yours, because you learned not just what to do. Hers learned what I have to do. No.
Yeah, so what she's saying here is, it's my fault that she suppressed emotions. No, just kidding, Laura. Just kidding.
Yeah, we only pick on the people who call in who we know really well
Exactly.
and love.
No, that's an excellent point, though.
It's
So
true. I was
yes.
the youngest. I was the youngest of four, and we
Uh-huh.
had the second family, because my father got remarried when I was 6, and I got a stepsister in the house, and new rules. So
Mm,
I'm the
yeah,
one that got to learn different rules, because just I was the youngest one.
right. Mm. Um, What is one of the ways you express your, uh, I like to call them lower vibrational emotions, because I'm doing my best not to see them as good or bad, because we're meant to feel the spectrum. So, what is a healthy way you express your lower vibrational emotions?
Well, it's interesting, because I don't have anger much, as I just talk about how I get angry at my daughter, right? But I don't, as a general rule, have anger much,
Oh,
except for with my kids. So I guess that's the example. Oh no, I've had it at work. That's not true. Um, I think that when I get angry, I recognize it. I've always recognized it not as being anger, but
Mm-hmm.
it's being that I have a problem. Okay, oh my gosh, I've got a problem. I've switched it. Not healthy. I'm not saying this is do not do this. This is what I did is I turned it around into something about me.
Right.
So that way you have, well, probably because I felt like that way I could control it.
Mm,
Whatever was angering me, if it was about me, then maybe I could control it.
right. You can
So
make
yeah. So yeah, that might explain a lot about me why I have low self-esteem most of my life. Yeah, so I would just turn in on myself.
Okay. So what do
That's
you
not
do?
good, but what I do now. Now what I do is I try to, well, since I'm not working hardly at all, I don't have much work anger with my daughter, what I do is, yeah, I still do a little bit of, I step back, but I don't step back because I'm healthy. I step back because I got to get control of it. I got to figure it out what it is. I still do a little of that, but more I do it's okay. I try to look at what the emotion is and feel like it's okay
Okay.
because
So
usually it's,
why is that not healthy?
well, it didn't used to be healthy, but now I've transitioned to being healthier because
Excellent.
now I still don't do the anger necessarily unless I'm at that point where I can't control it because usually I just turn to myself. So now it's like, okay, what's that about? That's about I'm overwhelmed. Like, for example, I'm overwhelmed with bringing up a teenager right now at this point in my
Mhm.
life. It's overwhelming for me. That's why I want to scream or do something wrong. That is wrong. And okay, so give yourself a break. And I talk through my emotion to myself.
Okay. So the big question I have though, because that's perfect. The reality is it's overwhelming for you raising a teenager now. So that does give you anger and frustration. It's not that you need to talk yourself out of feeling it. What do you do to express it? Yes, it's not healthy to scream at her, but that anger and frustration is still in there. So what's a healthy way for you to release it from your body? Because that trapped emotion manifests in pain if we don't do something, because it's dis-ease for a reason. It means we're out of alignment, and that's what we're finding. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the information that I was gathering over our little summer hiatus was that very thing. The pain that we feel, the sickness, that is all results of unexpressed emotions. So yes, it's healthy that you're not screaming back at your teenager, but that frustration, that anger is still in your body. What is a healthy way for you to express it? That's why, I went to the punching bag. I have another client that's like, I need an axe. I'm going to go chop some wood. The whole chop wood, carry water. It's about actual movement and action for your body, because we are very much in the energy of physical expression. Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Energetically, we're being squeezed to release anything that does not align for our highest and greatest good. And there's a lot of anger, frustration, and other lower vibrational energies that we have trapped. Well, we're cleaning out the cobwebs, we're sweeping out the corners, and this is what's
Mm.
coming up. So if you're feeling these things, think of a healthy way for you to express them that does not hurt you or anyone else.
I'll talk to her afterwards. But it's hard. She's a kid, so yeah, I'm still working on that.
Hey, we are all a work in progress, Janice.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
why we show up every week, and you share the specific message every week. So it is time for us to wrap up our show, as Janice said.
I don't know if that really means that, but it meant it to me. I must have been in plays or music or something. That was a symbol.
Yep, wrap it up. So we want to thank you so much for choosing to be here now with us. Please always remember,
You are not alone.
and don't ever forget, you are awesome. Thank you, Alex, Wendy, and Laura, for your comments. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you all next week. Thank you,
Thanks for
Janice.
being here. We love you. So glad you'd be part of this. Bye, everybody.